evening, everyone. Late on this Wednesday night, major drug bust in the area we learned about today. 16 people facing charges.
Say a variety of drugs changed hands, including marijuana and methadone, a drug that can be found in a lot of prescription drugs. Now, the 16 people range in age from 17 to 42. 11 of them were arrested in Door County. 5 faced charges in Kewaunee County. Fox 11's Becky DeVries has more on what happened. Well, it's being called the largest heroin bust on record.
This is something that we're very concerned about, and it's definitely been increasing.
Antonio Moore came from Waukegan, Illinois to allegedly sell the drugs. Police say it's typical to see dealers coming from around the Milwaukee and Chicago area to sell in the Fox Valley.
We've definitely seen a huge spike in the number of both fatalities and almost fatalities.
UW Milwaukee student learns her fate after her classmate dies of an overdose. 18-year-old Allie Raditz overdosed on alcohol and prescription drugs last February. 12 News' Mike Anderson joins us live from the Milwaukee County Courthouse.
Well, Kathy, this was a sentencing today more about saving a life and saving lives than it was about punishment, or about turning tragedy into triumph.
I'm sorry for everyone I heard. We were coaching and going back to drugs.
20-year-old Stephanie Crescent is a very lucky young woman. If she had continued on the path of mixing prescription drugs and alcohol, she might likely meet the same fate as her dear friend Allie Raditz. The 18-year-old Raditz was found dead at an off-UWM campus residence last February of an overdose, and a message needed to be sent to other young people about the dangers of drugs and alcohol.
I think this is a situation where this woman is one of those classic examples of somebody not understanding what can happen when you're using prescription drugs or any drugs for that matter. Just very loud enough and educate so that this type of thing doesn't happen again.
The investigation continues into a pretty large drug bust in Waukegan County.
Yeah, 8 people already are now facing heroin charges. Randy Lindgren and John Gernhardt among them. They're also accused of supplying the heroin that killed 21-year-old Amalia Henschel in April. Today we learned the investigation continues and it could reach beyond Waukegan County. Ted Doran has more of this Fox 11 following.
Nearly a dozen people are sitting in the Waukegan County Jail. They were arrested as part of a more than 4-month-long investigation by the Waukegan County Sheriff's Department and the State Department of Justice. On June 27th, officers executed search warrants at 5 Waukegan County homes. Those records are currently sealed by court order because of the ongoing investigation. John Gernhardt and Randy Lindgren were accused of supplying the heroin that killed 21-year-old Amalia Henschel in April. Several people have told Fox 11 Lindgren is a well-known heroin dealer in Red Granite.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Bridget Henschel, and my organization is called Amelias Home. My purpose and passion with Amelias Home is to visit schools about Amelia's story, talking to that freshman, sophomore classes, and telling them to illustrate how one bad decision could lead them down a destruction in a life that is above and beyond anything. I believe at that freshman, sophomore age is an important age to share Amelia's story, because that's the age when they start finding their inner core of friends, and the peer is pretty strong at that age. So not only do I want them to achieve their hopes and their dreams in life, but I also want to tell them the consequences of making a bad choice when it comes to using drugs. And to also let them know that they need to ask for help before it's too late. I also do this because of all these news clippings that you've just seen. Obviously, we all know that this drug problem, it's not just in those big cities like Los Angeles, New York, or even Chicago, but it's a huge huge problem right here in Wisconsin. And as a matter of fact, in our small towns all across Wisconsin. The Center of Disease Control and Prevention has officially declared that drug abuse in the United States is currently an epidemic. I am sure many of you know what the word epidemic means, but I just want to refresh your memory. The dictionary's definition of the word epidemic means a rapid spread, or the increase of the occurrence of something affecting many people at the same time. The most recent statistics that are available as of 2013 say that overdose deaths have increased to 43,982. That would mean that 122 people die every day from an overdose death. And if we break that down even further, for just the hour I am with you today, 5 people would have died from an overdose death. That's 5 people every hour, every day, all year long. My question is, how many people do you think died from an overdose death in 2013? Or died from a car accident in 2013? Anybody can think of it all across the United States for one full year, how many people actually died from a car accident? Okay, don't all talk at once, but according to the U.S. Department of Transportation, 32,719 people died from a car accident across the United States. And if you remember me saying, 43,982 people died from an overdose death. Now, when I go talking to these students at school, I ask them 3 questions. And all I have them do is raise their hands. So, before I even ask this question, I ask them to close their eyes. Because I don't want them to look around at the other kids of what they're saying. And I ask them to be as open and honest to me as possible. So the first question that I ask them to do is I want them to raise their hand if they feel that there's a drug abuse problem in their community. The second question I ask them is to raise their hand if they know somebody who has a drug abuse problem. And the last question I ask them is to raise their hand if they feel that there's a drug abuse problem in their school. Over 80% of them raise their hands for all 3 of those questions. This is why I go to these schools talking to these kids. And another fact that just blows my mind is that 90% of people with a drug addiction began using drugs as a teenager. I let them know that this is you. This is where the majority of the addiction had started. So I don't know what your feelings are on this, and I know that, we start that addiction when we're young because we always think that it could never be me. I'm stronger than that, or I can stop at any time I want to. That last news clipping is especially hard for me because it's from Limitless County. and it is about my daughter, Amelia Jean Henschel. And this is her senior picture. But before I get started with telling you her story, I want you all to know that I brought her here with me tonight. I brought her here with me because I know for absolute sure that she wants me to tell her story and hopefully bring awareness to this growing epidemic and hopefully prevent another family from going through what our family had gone through. The worst day of our lives happened April 12th, 2012. At the age of 21, our beautiful, full of life daughter, Amelia Jean Henschel, passed away tragically, unexpectedly, and at the very beginning of her adult life. The cause of death was heroin. My husband and I, we moved our family to Washera County with the dream of raising our children in a small, safe, central Wisconsin community. At the time, Amelia was 8 years old and our only child. She was your typical 8-year-old little girl, just full of energy and enthusiasm. She played softball in the summers and basketball in the winters. She had lots of friends, and they were always having sleepovers at each other's houses, playing dress up. And it sure seemed like she was invited to birthday parties every other weekend or so. She was on the traveling basketball team all the way up until high school started. And they had tournaments almost every weekend from December through April. Amelia had lots of friends, but she was best friends with her teammates. And they had a lot of fun playing sports together and just hanging out. Amelia was really quite popular and turning into a very beautiful young lady as she got into high school. Her freshman and sophomore years, she played volleyball, basketball, and softball. She always got good grades, and she was still best friends with all her teammates. She was your typical all-American girl that every parent would be proud to have as their daughter. Now things started to change a little bit between that junior and senior year of high school though. She stopped playing sports and she started to hang around with some different friends. They seemed like good kids. And even though she lost that interest in sports, she developed a love for music, writing poems, and photography. She continued to get good grades. So as parents, we thought everything was okay, and that maybe she was just going through a teenage hormonal thing and trying to find her way in life. Her senior year of high school, she attended UW Fox Valley for each part of her school day, getting a head start on college while still in high school. That next year after high school graduation, She attended college full time. And she did some modeling in the summer at a sporting apparel catalog. I'm sure most of you have heard of the catalog East Bay. I remember that first photo shoot. She was so nervous. Very typical, all-American girl. And every parent would be proud to have as their daughter. But things started to change then. After she went to college that first year, she was having a hard time getting motivated for her classes or anything that had to do with her future. We gave her that benefit of the doubt. Just thought she might need some time to figure out what she wanted to do with her life. She was over 18, so we were giving her space. Now as parents, we knew she was doing some partying, and we expressed our concern. We all did partying back then, but what we didn't know was the type of partying she was doing. That's when we started to find the marijuana and the marijuana pipes in her room and in her car. And then we started to find prescription painkillers on her, which we knew she didn't have a prescription for, and of course we disposed of them. We became very concerned and angry at her. We told her we would help her in any way we could. She just blew us off. She told us we were overreacting. She told us that she didn't have a problem, but the problem continued. So we knew we had to do something about it right away. In that fall of 2011, my husband and I did an intervention because we thought Amelia had a prescription painkiller problem that she couldn't fix herself. Now over those next 4 months, she went to a 30-day treatment program in Oshkosh, followed by a 90-day treatment program in Fond du Lac. We visited her every chance we could, and we attended all the family sessions that they had. She completed that program at the end of January 2012. From what we could tell, she sure looked like she was a changed person and heading down the right path in her life again. Now us, knowing nothing really about addiction, we learned during the family sessions, one of them, that addiction is a disease and that it is very, very hard to overcome on the first, second, or even third attempts. But she sure looked like she was a changed person from our close observation. On the early evening of April 11th, she said she was going to hang around with an old girlfriend she hadn't seen in a while. We knew this friend, and we knew Molly would be okay with her. But what we didn't know is that this girlfriend had to work till 11. And when Molly was at her house, she called this other so-called friend that we didn't know. we also didn't know that when she left the house that day, that was going to be the last time we were going to be able to hug her and tell her that we loved her. This other so-called friend that we didn't know gave her heroin at his house. And then they went to a bar in Red Granite. Within 15 minutes of arriving at that bar, Amalia left that bar by herself and was found dead next to a porch located less than 100 yards from the back door of that bar. April 12th, 2012. This is without a doubt the worst day of our lives. This was the day that our beautiful daughter, Amalia Jean Henschel, died because of heroin at the age of 21. I honestly don't believe that anyone could even imagine the incredible pain of losing a child so senselessly and early in life, unless you personally experienced it. You know, when we have children, it's always a challenge because we're always balancing wanting the best for them, teaching them right from wrong, teaching them responsibility, teaching them to accept the consequences for their actions, and helping them notice and learn life's lessons along the way. It is a tough challenge, but it's a challenge that you relish and you look forward to the very first day your child comes into this world, and every day thereafter. You relish this challenge because you love your children more than anything in this world. They are a part of you, and you love them more than you even love life itself. You know, when your child is born, you look forward to the day they take the first step, the day they say mommy or daddy for the first time, their first day of school, the day they graduate high school, the day they graduate college or start a career of their choice, the day they get married, the day they buy their first house, the day they start their family and you become grandparents, and the many days that they come to you for help and advice, the days that you watch their family grow, and the many days you feel the comfort that you've done a good job as parents. More than a half of these so-called life's precious moments were taken away from us on April 12th, 2012. Our youngest daughter, Allison, she was 3 years old when her big sister died. She talks about Molly all the time. And I sometimes hear her in her room, and I can hear her saying, I miss you, Molly. I want my big sister back.
Just a couple weeks ago, we were driving in the car, and out of the blue, she says, "Mommy, I forgot what Molly's voice sounds like. I want to hear it again." The only thing I could say was, "Me too, Ellie. I want to hear her voice again, too." Our son, Andrew, he was 12 years old when his big sister died. The pain and the shock when we told him the news, and those tears flowing down his cheeks are pictures in our minds that we will never, ever forget. We loved Amelias so much. And I tell you, no parent should ever have to go through losing a child they love so dearly. And no parent should ever have to tell their other children that their big brother or big sister is dead. And that they're never going to be able to hug, kiss, see, or talk to them ever again. The loss of a child is so devastating and painful. It is impossible for me to fully explain in words. They say the greatest loss a human being can experience is the loss of a child. It is true. It doesn't just change you. It demolishes you. The rest of your life is spent on a different level. The pain will always be there until the day I die. The cause of the death is what shocked us the most. We're a hard, middle-class family. And up to this point, I could never have imagined that a drug like heroin could be found in my small, safe community. But I am here as living proof that it doesn't just happen to movie stars or famous people in big cities, but it is a rapidly growing problem that's getting worse. I don't know if my husband and I were just naive, or maybe not paying close enough attention, but after the death of our daughter, not a day goes by that you don't hear about another big drug bust or another life lost. You see, many of you know that it didn't just start with heroin. It started using that marijuana, and then to the prescription painkillers, and then to heroin. You know, our society, we view people with addiction and their families with shame and indifference. You know, after Amelia's death, I tried blaming others for what happened. I blamed society. I blamed the school. I blamed her friends. The friends she hung around with. I blamed law enforcement. myself. You know, I couldn't even go into town because I was ashamed of people looking at me and thinking that I was a bad parent and that we didn't care about our kids. But it's absolutely not the case. We were very involved in everything our children did. We were the classic parents that would say, "Nope, not my child. My child would never do that." We've all been affected by this disease in some way, regardless of our backgrounds. You know what? Over 80% of those children raise their hand because they know somebody who's been affected by this illness. We need to constantly educate our youth about drugs, and we need to show them the dangers before they ever start to use. Before it affects them. Our youth need to be able to come to somebody for whatever their pain is and let them know that we are here for them, to help them, and we understand them. Now, I'd like to show you this video of just a few of my dear friends that I met right here in Wisconsin.
Didn't know today would be our last, that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb, I can't feel anymore. Praying you just walk back through that door and tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel round the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small. You were always there to catch me when I fall. In a world where heroes come and go, where God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside me, and I will hold on just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight, saying hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight.
It's been an emotional week for me this Mother's Day, and I don't know why. Just a lot of different emotions. So, forgive me if I talk weird tonight, but and her birthday coming up, You know, I'm so glad that, you have God in your life, because He's the one that helped me to be able to get out of bed. We all talk about life's always going to have its ups and downs, no matter who we are or how old we are. But it is through those tough times that shape us into the people we are to become. It took me a year to figure things out. I really had to study and understand what addiction was, because so many times I would just shake her and say, I don't understand how my love can't save you. Not knowing what I know now, but it isn't what I can look back on. The past is the past, and I have to keep moving forward and hopefully prevent these teens from ever going down this path. If very few children grow up and fantasize and say, I want to be a drug addict. If they only could have that one chance, that one moment to see the darkness of addiction before they ever start, I don't think anybody would ever choose to go down there. The most important reason why I'm here today is because I'm Amelia's voice. And I know that she wants me to bring awareness to this growing drug epidemic and tell her story so that it might make a positive difference in this world. It takes a community to make a difference together. It takes all of us. And I will tell you, I am never, ever giving up fighting this and talking to our youth about the dangers of drugs, and hopefully by hearing my daughter's story, nobody will ever have a story
that sounds anything like mine. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. And I thank you for standing up and making a difference and teaching others about recovery and hope, because that's what it's about. Hope. We hope to make a difference. And I always use that saying, one day at a time. One day at a time. Thank you.
Okay, follow up with something. Thank you. We're going to take a little break here because I figured this would be the best time to do it. What a story. What a sharing. What strength you have to carry the message out like that. Your beautiful daughter. Come back in 15 minutes and I'm just going to share something and we're going to get into some other things. But these speakers are going to be around. Mark's going to be around for a while. You have Terry's going to be around. Bridget will be around. I'm sure they're more than happy to. We all have a story. We all have a message. But if you got certain questions you'd like to ask them, they're more than willing. Pray for them all. We're all in this thing together, man. This is a big war going on out there, man. It's taking lives. I just heard another person leaving. So, okay.
50 minutes.